Randy Center,
Mhm.
Randy West.
Yep.
You wanna pick?
Let's do it.
Let me see.
Who is it?
Ooh, she's
Miss Kelly Clark? Is Kelly on?
oh, you can be online.
Yay!
Oh, okay.
Did she chime up?
Yes,
is.
yay, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yes.
We will send you a check tomorrow. Or later today, we'll send.
Today. I'll bring it over today.
Yeah, we get to start again.
So you can be online or
In person, yes.
Yeah.
We can't punish our online people. We have to give them the same people license.
I mean, they're participating,
Yes.
right? You can argue that they're probably smarter. They're just saving
There's
the time.
Kelly and Chelsea. There they are. The big winner. Oh yeah, do you split the price? Chelsea's
I'll let her
like,
have
"No."
this. She can have it. It's totally fine.
Do you have an itinerary to follow?
No, I don't think so. Are we gonna roll right into it today?
I figured we would.
Yep. Off we go.
And I'll do my best to, I don't know, try to stay centered. I know that a lot of you went to the BDM, which is the Business Development Manager, and also the RELO, which is the RE Real Estate LO Loan Officer. And those are very distinct differences in that RELO, as we know it, is a licensed real estate agent and a licensed loan officer. So a RELO, you have to have 2 licenses. You have so much more flexibility when it comes to income. The BDM program, which is the Business Development Manager, some of you have shown interest in that. That is specifically for people who don't want the responsibility of the dual licensing. You are the only way to make it compliant is for you to be an employee, a W-2 employee of Nexa. So you are onboarded, you're an employee. I think there's some tremendous benefits to doing it, even if you don't think there is. And I'll kind of go into that a little bit. The major differences in those two are also the disparity of income, right? So on a RELO, your compensation can be as much as 1%, depending on how involved you want to be in the transaction. And I'll try to separate these responsibilities where on a RELO, if your primary responsibility is going to be, you want to be the one that controls the loan, you want all of the communication on the loan, you want to be the loan officer of record. Those are the instances where you become the person that gets a 1% commission on the loan part of that. If you get your license and you say, hey, I don't really feel comfortable with the responsibility, I don't want the communication, I don't want to have to deal with underwriters, I don't want to have to deal with everything, all the responsibilities that come with it, the closing of the loan, you still get to have the contact. Basically what happens is you become an LOA, which is a loan officer assistant, which is exactly what Sarah's doing. So Sarah's a licensed RELO agent, but she's taken on the responsibility as a loan officer assistant. So she's foregoing her commission in order to let somebody else do it so she doesn't take on the responsibility. So that kind of separates all of those things. Now, probably the most important one that I think is going to have an impact on your, call it a career, if that's how you're considering this. When you become an employee of Nexa as a BDM and you're a real estate agent, you can legitimately say to a home buyer that you control their transaction, right? You control both sides of the transaction. And I think that that's unique and that there's not a lot of other entities, for example, not a lot of other agencies that allow it, and there's not a lot of people that are adopting it. And I think if you want to separate yourself going forward, it's going to be a hyper competitive industry. Right now, you're kind of seeing the transition. Social media is exploding. Everybody's using the same resources. Everybody's using chat, Claude, whatever Gunner's doing, God knows. But everybody's using different resources to have an impact on their business. But I don't necessarily see anybody actually separating themselves, right? And I think that that's kind of where you can kind of come in and maybe own a piece of that and say, look, this is how I help you. I control both sides of the transaction. I control the lending side. I control the real estate side. We're going to structure your transaction so that it benefits you. And I think that if you own that and you kind of make it your moat, you will legitimately separate yourself from 80% of the other agents. So, but that's the overview. Now I know that there was some confusion about the fees also. And the reason is because that involves access. So you're kind of paying for access. Like there's a tech fee with Axon, there's also a tech fee with Nexa, and that's $55. But if you're going to be a relo, you want access to everything else. You want access to the pipeline, you want access to the database, you want access to the investors, the lenders, you want logins and credentials. That is an additional $80. And so I think it's one of those things where you have to decide, do you want, what kind of responsibility do you want? What are you willing to take on? And is it worth $135 a month? Right. And I think
So do I pay 135 a month?
you don't pay anything because I pay for you.
Oh,
But-
Wes pays for it. Okay.
But you don't have access. So yours is 55.
I'm 55.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what,
Or
because
50.
I was like, I don't think I pay.
No, take it back. Nope, you're 80.
I'm 80.
Yep.
Wes, can I
because,
interrupt?
Yep, no. We muted you a long time ago. Go ahead.
It's $85 a month plus the 55 tech fee and an $80 background check.
For onboarding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are separate though. So you guys did the BDM training, right?
Yeah.
If you license and you become a relo, it's only one fee. It's only the $80.
Oh, okay.
But a BDM is,
55 if you at a minimum, and then if you want full access, it's an additional 80.
so if you want to be able to look at the portal and see what's going on with your client, you want to pay the 80 if as well,
Yep.
the 135. If you just want to have the basic and you're just going to rely on the LO to tell you, you
Yes.
don't do that 80.
Correct.
Okay.
So that's really the difference. And is it fun to pay fees? No, it's not. But it's also a commitment to your craft, right? And so if you are one of those that's like, I don't want to pay $50, I don't want to pay the $80, don't do it because it's just not worth it. And it's not one of those things where you can say like, oh, we won't make you pay, but we're gonna make you pay, or we won't make you pay because you don't want to. It's one of those things that just has to be clean. And quite frankly, like to me, it's a small price to pay for what you get. And if you're really trying to make this a career and a profession that you're proud of, and you really want to jump in and set yourself apart, $80. I mean,
Well,
it
and
doesn't.
if you're able to look at the portal, it's great because you can then call your client. You can be ahead of it, right? You can be almost the liaison between
can.
both. And like, oh, the appraisal's been ordered, or you can see what stage it's at, correct?
You can, and you can also make an argument that there's a tremendous gap in communication between buyer's agent, seller's agent, two TCs, title officer, escrow assistant, processor, loan officer. There's 12 people. And this is the worst communicated industry that you could ever possibly be in. From a perspective that somebody's usually doing something, but not everybody's, there's so many people involved that you can't talk to everybody, right? And sometimes TCs don't get in the mix, sometimes listing agents don't get in, and somebody's always left out of the communication. And so if you think that that's going to be something that you thrive on in your business, and you're gonna be, I'm gonna be great at communication, you can do it.
But don't Nexa agents, I mean, LOs also have Lofty that integrates
They do.
with our Lofty. So do you really need to be able to see the portal? Because through our Lofty account, we should be seeing what the LO is doing as well as what the TC is doing.
You only see what the notes they put in, so if the officer is not putting in their notes into there, you would.
Okay,
There's a connected portal. Two different things though. So Nexa uses a different CRM. But,
they told that, go ahead.
right, so I have a different CRM. But because I'm dual licensed, I can access Lofty, right? So a dual licensed Accent Nexa loan officer can
Access
access
both.
Lofty. And I can't do it through Nexa, I can do it through Accent.
Okay,
So all of my communication has to be through Lofty, through the Action portal.
okay.
Same thing, but yes, and these are all, we're building these pieces out, right? And what's the final picture gonna look like? Nobody really knows, but it can't help but be better than it is today, especially with so many people involved.
Mhm.
And so I think that's probably, in my opinion, the BDM part. Going and getting licensing, trying to understand loans and be good at it, that part's incredibly difficult, right? I'm not even gonna lie. Especially when there's so many different aspects of it. But at a minimum, if you become a BDM, you can legitimately say that you own both sides of the transaction. And to me, that's not something that the agency across the street, down the street, and and none of those other agencies can say that they do that, right? And I think right now, that's where you set yourself apart from all these other real estate agents. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that is a fact, but it seemed like it would make sense.
So the difference between the BDM and the RLO, well, there's
Licensing.
three, or an actual practicing LO, right?
Correct.
It's different. Is no licensing for a BDM. You do have to pass the test for RLO.
Yep.
And the compensation is different.
Compensation on the relo can be all-in loan officer up to 1% commission, and then on the licensed loan officer assistance where you don't want to deal with it, then it's 0.5%.
And the BDM,
0.25, 0.25%.
so it's a quarter, a half, and 1%.
That's correct.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jen. Boy, you had a question. Sorry, Brett. What was your question? Oh, you just raising your hands? Oh,
Having access to lending pad is different, because that's just where we store the information. It's not where you go to see what's going on with the loan per se. Unless the loan officer is I never go in and update that till the very end. Like, I'm working in a different portal because we're we're putting these loans in different portals. So I actually don't reconcile my file, it's just data, it's just the borrower's data, like how much they make, stuff like that. It's not telling you what's going on with the loan at any particular time, if that makes sense.
It does. Mhm.
So I don't want you to confuse that, like you're gonna get that technology and just be able to go in and see what's going on with the loan at all times.
Oh, I see what you're saying, Brooke. I see what.
it's only updated as it's updated.
Yeah, as a actual.
Like, it'd be like the same as updating Lofty, right? If it's not updated, the TC hasn't updated it, it's just not updated.
Leticia is
You
confused
had a question
about
too,
the
Glenn.
breakdown of numbers. Which part of the numbers, the income or the expense or the cost that goes with it? Income.
So who gets the 1, who gets a 0.5, who gets a quarter?
So if you're going to be licensed, this is the top. If you're licensed and you want full responsibility of the loan, you get a 1% commission.
That means you're doing the loan. You are
You're
the
doing the
LO.
loan, but you have to partner with a licensed loan officer to be your loan officer. So for example, this would be great. So Jim says, hey, I want to do everything. I want to be the loan officer. Jim would get a 1% commission, and then he would pay me 0.5% as his bitch.
Like as his
basically.
mentor.
Yeah, right.
For how
And so-
many deals?
It's somewhere around 20, but it might be 24.
Okay. So the difference between an LO and an RLO is the word referring, right?
That's correct.
I just refer stuff.
You do.
I'm not doing the work. I don't
Right.
want to do the work. I just want to get a number and give it to you.
Correct.
And you do the work.
Yep.
So
So top of it, 1% commission if you do all of the work, meaning that you get all the emails, you have to deal with the communication, because not everybody gets it, right? So if you're the loan officer, you're the only one that gets a lot of this information, the appraisal orders, I mean, if that's the responsibility you want, you can have it, but you have to have somebody who can navigate it through you. So you can
learn how to do it.
That's right. So you can partner with Brooke, Norma, or myself, or Griselda in order to do that. But you have to have a partner. They don't let an inexperienced loan officer go to originating without a partner.
Well, yeah.
Well, actually, you have two options. You can do that, or you can go to their university. But their university is very, very generic.
So
It's good, but it's just generic.
So it's 1%
Mhm.
if you want to full on be a loan officer. It's 0.5% if you're just going to be licensed and refer to another licensed
Correct.
Nexa loan officer. And it's 0.25 if you don't get your license at all and you are doing that monthly report
Yep.
and you're an employee of Nexa.
Yep.
You're just referring.
You're referring the business, and well, referring's not the right word, but you're developing business channels,
Yeah.
sharing social media posts, and you guys have been through the training, so you saw that. And then the only way to make it RESPA compliant is for you to be an employee and for you to have supervisor be involved in it, which is, I think you guys saw that was Karen. So those are the 3 stages of income on those 3 scenarios.
And it's 0.5 or 0.25 of the loan amount
Correct.
for the deal. Yes. So if it was a $400,000, it would be $2,000 if you are the RLO. Right?
Wait, say that one more time.
If it's a $400,000
And you're the real, like,
RLO,
but you're just the assistant?
RLO.
Well, yeah, but remember you can be an RLO with a 1% commission or a
No,
0.5%.
just I'm saying just
The 0.5%.
referring.
So 0.5% is $2,000, yeah,
And then if you did a BDM, it would be 1,000.
correct.
Now that 2,000, she's gonna give you 1,000.
No, that's only about the top one. You only, she
The
only pays
referring LO has to give the LO
No,
part.
No.
No.
That's only if you're an LO.
that's only if you want to do the whole loan yourself.
That's when she has to be under him and still pay him the 0.5%.
All I do is get a client, refer it to Wes, he closes the deal and I get 0.5%. That's it.
So if she wants to do the work, she gets 1%, he gets that.
It flips. So it's either 1% half, 1% half.
And I don't want to do loans, so I'm not doing that part of it. I just want to make a phone call.
And then after she's 25, deals and wants to be an originator.
She ain't
gets a
doing it.
1.5.
Yeah, she ain't doing it.
You don't want to do both at that point.
Of course.
So I'm
Go
trying
ahead.
to wrap my head around monetizing this for a Joe Public future client.
Mhm. And when you say that, do you mean,
Well, let me explain.
Okay.
So on one hand, you say, hey, the great thing is you have control.
Yep.
But on the other hand, you're saying, Sarah, just get the loan hand off them when you're done. So that's not control.
it is to some extent, and let me tell you why, because also say like, hey, this is a very, very important transaction. We have to handle it very differently. We have to, we're short funds, we have to structure this deal accordingly, right? And so it could mean, and this is the part that does get a little complex. Let's just say there's 20 lenders that I would normally deal with, right, on a normal basis. And let's just say their rate output today is 5.25. I could also shop that to another lender that could probably get in the 4s, right? But I generally choose not to do business with them because it could take longer, or just maybe they're not as tech friendly or not as optimized. So it's one of those, you say, okay, if that's the route we're going to go, we're going to get a lender credit to the borrower because maybe they're short cash to close. Instead of getting a 30-day escrow, let's get a 40-day escrow, right? So let's figure out what we can do with the loan to structure it so that the borrower gets what they need.
So you're saying the lender becomes more receptive because you're part of the team?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm like trying to tell me to go, I'm like, And some of you have had conversations with me about it, like, is that the best you can do? I'm like, it's not, but
Okay,
you don't want to deal with me, but
question I have then is. We're buying for a client. Quinn and I are buying for a client.
on a buyer transaction or,
Sure, yeah.
okay,
And I say, the good thing about me is I've got more control. Why do they give a shit?
why does who give a shit?
Why do the buyers care? Why is that gonna, if I'm a buyer, what does that mean to me?
If they
Gonna
only
make
call
them
you
choose.
versus calling you and Wes, you can find out what's going on.
So that to some extent, yes. And so I'm gonna share with you something that I've been working on and it's almost like a structure method and I have a name for it, but I'll share with you and so when you see it, you'll understand. And it's specifically about that. You're not aware of it because you haven't thought about it. But when I share it with you, you will. You'll be like, okay, that makes sense. And it's basically you're trying to win, right?
Mhm.
So what could you do differently to win a buyer over her?
A choosy client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea what that would be?
Well, if I'm getting the 0.5, I could come in, I could say
You can give them 0.5% of
I
your
could give
commission
them
for
0.5%
a credit.
For a credit.
You
I
can,
say I'm gonna write the offer and I'm only gonna ask for a 1.5 instead of a 2, or you have that flexibility of being able to negotiate better for them.
your commission is negotiable, right, on the buyer side. And so if you have an avenue to make revenue from a different perspective, it certainly helps,
Mhm.
right? And 0.5% on a $400,000 deal, we know is $2,000. So would that be the difference? I don't know. But it could be if you had to get more aggressive, right?
Mhm.
And so in which I suspect you guys haven't even thought about yet, but it's more and more people are talking about the likelihood that we see reduced commissions in the future. And so especially with automation and AI, I'm telling you, like in 6 months to a year, we won't even be doing the stuff we're doing on the loans. Like it's going to take over and it's going to have a tremendous impact on speed, how many bodies need involved in it. And as it becomes easier, I think you see more and more agents become LOs.
Well, and I think the beauty of it is now that we do get to negotiate our buyers agent compensation, it gives us so much more flexibility. You can be so much more strategic. When I'm writing offers and I know I'm competing, I don't care, I'll reduce it 0.5% because I've got that. I'm still not losing any money and I won the deal. I just think it would be a little bit different if it was preset like it used to be, but now that it's not, it's so much easier to use that part of it to our advantage.
It's especially in a multiple offer situation.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Because the only variable generally is going to be closing cost credits and buyer agent commission.
But it's a two-stage sort of proposition to a buyer, like, if you use me and my lender.
You can't do that. You can't actually tie them together. You can't say, if you do this. Because it becomes a, getting something of a benefit for a referral.
So when you sell it, then if you can't mention that they need to use this lender, I'm confused on that.
And you probably will until you understood the ethics part of it. And I can't, especially more on camera. That part is difficult. It's muddy, right? And so you can't say like, hey, if you do this, it's this, like.
But you can say, I've had great luck with,
Mhm.
with me as the lender, I'd love to give you, like, let's get some quotes.
There's all kinds
Get
of ways you
some
can
from
do it.
other people, let me quote it out as well. I mean, that's not, and I would tell them, go get 2 others, I'll refer you to a couple, or you find a couple, let me give you an
I'm not trying to
estimate.
tell you Wes.
No, I know.
No,
I'm trying to wrap my head around.
No,
how
it's
I
good
can sell this as an
questions.
advantage.
Good
Well,
questions.
and I'll share my paper with you and it will make sense because it's not saying like, hey, do this and do this and I'll do this for you. It's more about like, if you do all of this together in a coordinated effort, which you can, at this point, you can pretty much say is not coordinated to some extent. If you do this in a coordinated effort, this is the outcome,
Mhm.
right? And so it takes away the selling of it. So I'm curious to see what you think of it.
I think if you said to a buyer, hey, yeah, if you wanna, like, I'm an LO right now, and let me give you an estimate. You're not saying you have to use me, right?
You know,
You're just saying, let me give you an estimate. We've had some great luck with rates. Let them do 3. It's even more impactful for them to see, oh, this one's here and they're here. Yeah, naturally they're gonna go with that one. You don't say they have to, just give them the option.
and quite frankly, if you're working in those angles and you're saying, hey, this is what I'm willing to do for you, right? On representing him as a buyer's agent, let me see where else I can help you, right? Let's try this. Let's see if I can help you here. Those are there. That's how you pick it up, right? You can't go ahead.
No, I was gonna say,
Oh.
because how many buyers or sellers, when they rely on us, I mean, how many of them call you, Jim, like, oh, do you have a handyman? Oh, do you have this? Oh, do you have a lender? Oh, do you have?
Get requalified.
Yes, it's all that. I mean, it all just kind of rolls up. They like you. They want to, and if you can help them with everything, because my clients still
So we
call
don't need
me.
to get in trouble. But
Well, you
that's-
don't.
You don't have to say you have to.
No.
You
I
just,
guess that would be some important training.
Yeah.
right.
And I'm glad that you meant, I knew this question was going to come up, and I'm glad you brought it up because
It's a good question.
I've had this conversation with Kristen, right? The broker of record, and she's doing training starting in February about this specifically because she's also dual licensed. So if you guys want a good source of like somebody who's done it, who's doing it now, she's not just, she was actually, she's been with Nexa now for I think 3 years, and Kristen is a Nexa coach, right? So she's very, very familiar with the lending part and the real estate part. She's the broker of record for California. So she's going to do, it's on the Accent. Did you see it? Her training?
Yes.
It's in February, right?
She has like 2, one's on the 5th and one's on, another, but they're at 2 PM on
Yeah.
Wednesdays, I believe.
So this is something that came up probably 2 weeks ago, and I went to her, I'm like, hey, we're gonna need to build this because more and more people are gonna start doing it, and we're gonna have to be careful of these areas. And she's like, I'm glad you said that. I'm working on this as we speak, right? And she's like, it should be ready for training in whatever the training is, right? So the timing's good, but you're right. It's very, very specific on what you can and can't say, especially if it's gonna be public, right? You're not gonna wanna tie it necessarily together like in a social media post.
Right.
But if you
But how does that go into what we were talking about this morning with the graphics that we were talking about?
those are going to be completely different things because those are we talked about 2 parts of it. One part was internal, right, which you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the public face.
And so that part will be a little bit tricky because of what you can and can't do, and we're gonna have to figure out where the value's at. But we'll table it for another day because it's not really ready to have a conversation about.
Right, okay.
Not that it won't give clarity here to them if we bring that up. Does that make
I'm
sense?
gonna bring it up.
Okay.
So,
Well, right, we're talking about the LO part, right? So the 2 we were just talking about, what about the BDM part of that?
oh yeah,
I'm
can
a little
they,
confused there because Jim was talking about as an L, I was getting, we thought, as an LO, not a BDM.
Right, but a BDM is not an LO.
Right, so.
So it's not, they don't fall under the same licensing. So you're not saying like, if you do the loan through me, I'll do this on my real estate commission or vice versa. That's not the same. That's not the same.
BDM doesn't go-
It doesn't go there because they're not responsible for it.
What's the other?
You do. But to me, it's the same in a sense that you're still part of the transaction. I think more importantly, like don't lose that because I promise you that's way more important than you guys know.
Yeah.
Being tied to the entire transaction, especially as you try to eliminate friction from the transaction, right? Like there's just so much of it.
Problem tell us BDN, it's kind of already our natural sales pitch when we tell our agent, when we tell our client. This is why I refer my clients to so-and-so is because we work closely together. I know the way they operate, we already have our system going. You naturally already use your go-to lenders as part of your team. Even though you're not in the pool of BDM right now, you already do that. So
very
That's
low
what it's
level.
gonna fit.
Right, very, very, very low level. And the reason why I say that, that's the assumption, right? But there are agents who take it to another level, and Webb's not here, but Webb's the
He's
dude.
online.
He's online. From an LO perspective, he's the most difficult agent to deal with on the planet. Because he wants to structure everything and like, no, like we need this kind of credit. Well, how are we gonna get this credit? Well, can you do this with the rate? He's constantly structuring the transaction to make it work for the buyer. Like, no, we can't ask for 6,000. We can only ask for 5. Where do we get another 1,000 from? So that's what I mean by structuring, right? Like that's somebody who takes control as an agent in a place where he didn't have control. I just gave it to him, right? But you can make it so much more frictionless, right? By actually owning it and to some extent. And I think that we're all on the same page at this point. We're doing this for the greater benefit. It's not like we have, well, here's the thing that you guys don't know. When you're dealing with compensation from a loan officer perspective, your compensation is set no matter what you do. Except when you have affiliated agreements, right? And so we have an affiliated agreement with Sarah where our compensation can never exceed this, right? So that control is more grand than you guys know, because it keeps rates down. So instead of me making a 2% commission, I make 1, right? So, but the borrower's interest rate instead of 5.5 is 5.25, or vice versa, 5.75 to 5.5. And we did that intentionally. And so that's kind of what I mean by control. Like it's not like you're sending a loan to some rando LO who's, I can almost guarantee you that they're working off a 3 to 3.5% margin when we're working off a 1.5. So that's what I mean by control. And structuring, and you have flexibility to, once you understand it and once we do more training on it, you'll see a bigger picture. And it will make sense. And there's obviously a better way, and everybody has their own technique of having these conversations with borrowers, but I can't imagine a scenario where they look like, oh, I don't touch you. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
No, it's good. We'll skip that part. I'll defer.
So basically I was right.
You're right.
Sorry for taking in the weeds on that.
I know.
It's good. It's good. Those are good questions.
I was hoping it was gonna come up and I wasn't sure how I was gonna answer it, to be honest.
So, can you cover, Wes, again, because I keep telling the agents this, but I don't know that all of them have heard it. Having your LO cover the transaction fee.
Yes.
That's another way to make money, to save some money.
Yes, and so that can happen whether you're with Nexa,
Yes.
Jimmy Joe's across the street, whatever, like any lender can pay or cover any buyer fee as part of the transaction very easily. It's just a matter of will they?
There's Kristen, it's here. That's our broker.
No, there she is.
Well, I apologize. I just got the email, Wes. I was like,
We were just talking about you.
uh-oh. Hopefully, you embellished.
We love your social media and also your trainings on the RELO coming up from compliance perspectives in February.
All that fun stuff. Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, no, it's good. Yeah. So the first Tuesday of the month on the Nexus side, we do a RELO class. And then on next, I think it's Wednesday, the next 2 Wednesdays, we're going to do a couple of things on just, how you wear both hats and the value you bring. And then I think at some point we do a combo, because it's a lot. It's okay, BDM or RELO, and what do those look like? Which I'm sure you've already kind of covered with everybody. So I don't want to bogart your time or your meeting.
No, that part's good. And Jim had the best question, and this is the hardest one for me to explain because
Okay.
and you and I had this conversation last week about the compliance of acting as both, right? The loan officer and the real estate agent on the buyer side, right? Things you
Yep.
can say, what you can't do. You can't say you're going to do this if you do this, and all of those things. And I think that that's probably where we need the most help in this part of it.
And I missed the question, I think. What was the specific question?
Go ahead,
Well,
Jim.
it's sort of, if I'm competing with another agent for a buyer. And I know I have this lending piece as something I can do. How do I sell that to them, or why would they care? And
The bu-
then
I'm
why would
sorry.
the buyer care to choose me because I have this lending piece? What would that? Why would that matter to them? And what can I say and what can I not say?
So as far as as far as the value you bring, we're going to be doing a training on this. So just so you know, I've been wearing both hats for the last 5 years. And I'm a big believer, and Wes has heard me in my classes, huge fan, and I'll go toe to toe with any agent and any lender out there, why it is crucial to be duly licensed. From the buyer's perspective, you want Kristen to be your buyer's agent because I am going to be the only one that will represent you and get you the home you want because I'm duly licensed. I'm going to know how to talk to the listing agent. The listing agent is going to know that Kristen and Mr. Buyer's offer is the best because Kristen knows both sides of the desk. She knows contingency timelines. She knows how to read an approval. She knows what all of that looks like because she brings the real estate side to the lending side. The other piece of this is, oh, well, my lender, I've already working with a lender and a realtor and he can do that. Well, why have one more person in the mix? Like I tell people, we make people move for a living. Moving sucks. Let's face it. Nobody wants to move. And why complicate the whole process with one more piece of the puzzle? Why don't you be the one-stop shop and be the one person that is going to get your buyer's offer accepted because you know more about their financial, as much as that their financial strength with the offer. That's
Now,
only
Kristen,
a piece of it. Depending on the market, when we get to a buyer's market and you've got to get super competitive, then guess what? And I don't like doing this, and don't yell at me, Sarah and Jackie, if you're on here, and Wes, but if I've got to come in and lower my buyer broker comp to be a little bit more competitive because I'm going to make it on the loan side, then that's what I'm going to do for my customer. It's service to the customer. That's just my 10 cents.
now, I think we were trying not to go with that. Also, Kristen, is no, that's perfect. That I'm with you on that part. But you can't say, hey, if I do your loan, I'll cut my commission on the buyer's representation agreement. Is that correct?
Yes. I mean, and I love to dance. I love to dance, and it's a little dance that we all do. Let's face it, just like Mr. Joe Blow lender can't come in and say, "Oh, well, I'm going to pay for your appraisal." Yeah, no, you can't. But that's a whole nother thing. Yeah, it is a little bit of a dance. We're not there yet in this market. We are in parts of the other parts of the country. Do you want to, you can't really go down that rabbit hole. Do you even, and again, same thing. Oh, the appraisal's short. Oh, okay. Buyer doesn't have money. Seller doesn't want to budge. The agents don't want to budge. Okay. Lender doesn't really want to budge. But at some point, you've got more room to budge and to dance.
Now, do you cover these things in your trainings next month?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We have a whole thing on, I think next Wednesday, we got it on the calendar and it's if you aren't on the Axon Realty internal page in Facebook, definitely join that. There's a lot of announcements there, but next week we're going to talk about just the advantages of being the buyer's agent. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll talk about being being the advantages of being on the listing side and having the loan information as well.
I was just gonna throw this out there because of your experience in it. So where are you seeing this from a listing agent perspective, like to have the ability to do both? Are you seeing capture in that? Go
I
ahead.
am. Yeah, I am. My favorite is when I'm the listing agent and then I get, the agent calls me and, hey, I'm sending an offer and da 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 da. And I'm going to send you the proof of funds and I'm going to send you, the pre-approval. And then I say, okay, that sounds great. What sort of loan are you looking at? What sort of loan is it? Oh, I don't know. My lender took care of that. Okay. And then I get it. And, I'm looking at the proof of funds and I'm looking at the bank statement and there's, large deposits, there's NSFs. These tell me from the lender side, okay, where did the large deposit come from? And a large deposit is a certain percentage of the loan amount that isn't sourced. And so then when you start asking those questions up front before you present the offer, now you know how strong it is. Okay, is it a bank statement program? Is it, okay, well, most lenders don't like NSFs on bank statement. And if you got NSFs, then we might have, a little hiccup here. But the more I ask these questions, my favorite is when the names don't match the pre-approval on the offer. That's my favorite. And then the other one is the county loan limits. Now, I'm in Southern California. Riverside County has a certain loan limit. San Diego has a loan limit. Orange County has, and so you have, and I think we're similar, Wes, right? Your pockets of counties
Can be.
have
Yeah. From
different.
out of town lenders, you can see that. Yeah.
Exactly. And out of state lenders, those are I have really a lot of fun with them because they have absolutely no clue. And then if it's a newer home, does it have assessments on it? Did they calculate the taxes right? So when you get a page one of a DU approval and the county is totally different from the offer. So there's all this little, and again, as you get to know me, my favorite word is minutia. But you get all the minutia, and I get it. Realtors, if you've been doing this a long time, get out of the mindset of, oh, that's my lender's. Oh, I have my lender deal with it. No, 39%, according to NAR, 39% of the realtors nationally are duly licensed. And we're seeing this number increase. And you've got to get in position to not get left behind. And you have to, it's a mind shift change, just like Accent Realty is. We're a total, it's a different mind shift. You got to just shift your thought a little bit. So that's a couple things on the listing side that I do. And I tell the sellers that as well.
But how does that apply if you're an RLO, not an LO? Like, would I as I don't have all that knowledge as an RLO.
You don't, but at some point, and you may never want to get there.
I don't want to.
But some people will want to get to that point, right? Because they're
So as
younger.
an RLO, they can, they can still get the info.
That's right.
Without doing
And you can learn it. So like, this is a great example. Once you're a relo, you're gonna have access to all of the agent trainings, the loan officer trainings in Nexus Network. And so there's how many trainings a day so she's part of LOS, Nexus University. You have access to all these trainings as an LO, as a relo. That's how you become familiar with it.
But you're not, the terms, you
do.
understand, but you're not doing.
But you'll get there, right? You'll get there. And so I think that's the point is the younger generation of agents that are killing it on TikTok and Instagram. They don't have to be as good as you are, because they're good at all the other things. And imagine having the flexibility to get in, learn all these things, these tools, and eventually applying them to her level. And that's a little bit different.
No, you know what though? But is that Sarah or Jackie?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see the picture. Sorry.
Sarah.
Here's the thing though, as a relo, and Wes, you may or may not have covered again the minutia of it, but you are the LO on the file. You are signing the 1003, which is the loan application. You're pulling credit and you're signing the initial Nexa, you're signing Nexa disclosures and you're signing the initial lender disclosures. That alone, just the trainings for that will give you what I just said on the approval side.
Gotcha.
And
okay.
You start doing, 1 a month, 2 a month, whatever it is. it's going to be rote, and it's going to be like, okay, let's, because you're gathering their income, you're gathering their initial documents, and you're looking at to make sure all the PDFs, it's not just a screenshot, it's bank statement, and we have one of 6 pages, even if the 6th page is blank, and it's not cut off. You're looking at that, and then you're going, okay, well, hang on, we got $100,000 deposit here. Where'd this come from?
So this is very high level, right? Where she's at.
Mhm.
And so, but imagine being a real estate agent who's presenting an offer to her and not having the ability to understand the entire transaction. Does that make sense? And so that statistic of 39% sounds absolutely insane, but that's nationwide also. It's just not necessarily adapted here.
No, and it's not adapted in a lot of places. But like I said, it was in the National Association of Realtor magazine. So there you go. Anyway,
But yeah, that incredibly high level. It doesn't mean that you're going to know this on day one. It just,
yeah.
5 years from now, you're going to be considerably better at the whole the whole picture than you are today.
Especially presenting your offers to a
100%.
listing agent.
Right.
Why
This
they
is-
should, yeah.
Yeah. And when you see somebody at her level, you realize that this is probably the future, right? You're going to have to understand how to present to her, right? Did you do all these things? It's a very, very generic process right now.
Right.
But
That's a
it
good
probably
way.
changes.
That's a good way of terming it, Wes, it's a generic process. It's yeah, no, you're right. Don't be scared is all I can say. And jumping back to the buyer's agent, so you get that lead and it's an internet lead or whatever, and you want
Hey, real quick, Kristen, before you jump to that, because I want to keep on the agent side,
Okay, sorry.
the listing agent side. From a listing agent perspective, if you're going toe to toe with another agent to win a listing, how much more advantage do you have having the skill set that you have? And I think that
Yeah.
probably gets overlooked, right?
It absolutely does. And again, oh, I can do the pretty pictures. Oh, I can social media market and I can do that. But at the end of the day, is the property, and again, I go into the demographics of who the buyer is for your property. So, Wes, we're going to talk about your property. You've been in your property 20 years. You've been in your property 10 years. What's your monthly payment? So you want to talk about the demographics of who your buyer is. Okay, we're going to price this fair market value, 1.1, 900, whatever. Okay, guess what? Your property has some beautiful patio. Are we gonna cover a clear termite report? Okay, well, if we're not going to cover a clear termite report, then we can't open this home up to any VA offers because I need a clear termite for VA. If Mr. Appraiser calls it out on an FHA offer and you're not going to pay for it, we're going to have to tell the buyer up front they're going to have to pay for it if we accept this FHA offer. By educating the customer and educating the seller in opening up the buyer pool. Because Mr. Seller, we want as many buyers to come and look at your property as possible. And if we can't open it up to all pieces of finance, conventional, FHA, VA, whatever it is, we're going to shrink our buyer pool. Again, depending on the market. Maybe you don't care about that, but it's knowledge that you want to tell the seller. Oh, and by the way, you're paying $2,000 a month mortgage or $3,000 a month mortgage. If we get a conventional buyer, this is the demographic. If they put down 10%, their payment's going to be this. We need income of this. Maybe we go market to that demographic, whatever that might look like. So again, it is probably high level and you probably don't really think about this stuff, but I absolutely kind of get into that because you don't want fallout. You don't want to take an offer that, financially it's not gonna, it won't appraise. It won't, there'll be repairs, whatever that looks like. So that's the other thing. That's the other piece of it is I try to educate the seller on who their buyer is and what that demographic looks like.
And having both skill sets, I imagine, separate yourself from the other listing agent.
God, yeah. If you come in as a listing agent with that,
the more you know, the better, right? And so I think that's where I was going with that, is if the other agent doesn't understand the buyer pool, the lending side, what kind of problems you're gonna have on the financing part, just separating yourself from them, because everybody starts on a level playing field. Other than reducing your commission, you don't really have anything else on offer unless you just have this grand marketing plan.
Right.
But I think all of those things are important.
Yeah. And sellers aren't used to it. This is what I'm saying. And I use the word industry shakeup quite a bit. Sellers aren't used to all this information. Oh, well, that's not what the other guy said. The other guy said this. Oh, well, I'm just saying, you've been in your house X amount of years and you have this nice little pretty payment because you have this nice little pretty, 3% rate. Well, guess what? We're in the, mid to high fives on a FHA VA, and we're probably high fives, low sixes. Nobody knows what that looks like, is my point. Nobody knows what that means monthly. So jumping back, Wes, real quick to the buyer
Yeah.
side, they say, "Oh, Kristen, no, I'm pre-approved. I can go look at houses. I'm pre-approved." Wow, that is so great. Tell me a little bit about what that looks like to you in the form of a monthly payment. Oh, well, I can't go more than 3,000 a month. And you're looking at the house he wants to look at, and you're looking at the down payment, and you're like, we ain't going to be at 3, baby. We're going to be at 6, or we're going to be at 10, or whatever that looks like. So again, it's just the questions. It's just knowing what to ask is going to put you above everybody else.
Yeah. It's good info.
How do you feel about where she covered where you were going with
No,
yours?
that's great. I'm like I said, I'm trying to figure out how to parlay this into getting more sales or closing more. And that makes more sense.
Separate yourself from.
And it's less about the finagling of the commission. What makes more sense to me is just being more knowledgeable about all sides of it and being honest with customers.
There you go.
And being able to be the big resource that someone else just makes cool TikTok videos, but they show up and they can't tie their shoe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would it be cool if you do both?
TikTok.
Left brain, right brain.
Yeah, and I think also the part that when you go in for a listing, what Kristen just covered, and you can talk about the characteristics of the home and what loans it will qualify for. I can do it because I've done it for,
Right.
forever. I can do it, but a lot of agents cannot. They cannot do it. They do not know if that, will this qualify for FHA? Will this qualify for VA? But knowing those guidelines and those standards, it helps. It's just more knowledge. And
Right.
more knowledge, better.
What about stuff like refinances? Like we have a client that doesn't necessarily want to buy a house, but they know that we're loan officers and we help them with refinancing their home.
Yeah, it's the same.
Absolutely. It
And
opens
what
up
a
the
great
whole
way
pool.
to touch your clients. What a great way when rates have dropped and you kind of know where they were at when they purchased. What a great call. What a great care call that is to your clients. Like, hey, rates have dropped. Have you thought about doing refinancing? That's a great
Can't
way
you
to
only do
touch.
that with the premium membership of this?
No.
Or it can be as a.
No, this is just really the hub where we're letting it all out.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you can do that anywhere where you're licensed, anywhere in the state of California. So it has nothing to do with downtown. It could be seconds, it could be whatever. In fact, there's an incredible way to market those. You can still get paid on all those transactions.
And what about the buyer pool that you have? I'm just going to dovetail, Wes. What about the buyer pool you have currently? Think about your whole book of business and all those people who aren't selling, by the way, because they got the stupid 3% rate. And I don't mean to say stupid. I'm sorry if I offended anybody.
Mine's 2.875.
It's a silly little rate. They're not going anywhere. Maybe they got credit card debt. Maybe they don't have any debt and they're perfect. And you go and now you've got a potential new buyer because, hey, guess what? You can go pull some of that money and let's go start building your real estate wealth with the DSCR loan and let's go get a rental. Now you're going to get the refi and you're going to be the buyer's agent and go help them buy something else.
And get the DSCR loan too.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There you go. There's
So
three.
many times when you talk to a client and they don't have an idea, because they have a 2.75 or whatever, what this first time home buyer is, the stroke on it is gonna be. Like when you tell them that the payment on this is gonna be $3,500 a month, and meanwhile yours is 1,450.
Yeah.
They don't, if they know that going in, then maybe they're a little softer on pricing, because they know what people make,
Right.
but they have no idea what the payments are.
Yeah. I talked to my sellers about that, like, hey, you realize what a payment's gonna be for a buyer right now, right? Like, cause they're like, oh, they don't understand, but when you tell them, cause theirs is $1,500 a month and the next guy's $3,500 a month, and all of a sudden it's an eye opener for them. They don't realize and who you're dealing with, and not just, absolutely. Okay. All right.
Good stuff.
Any other questions on that?
Okay, so I think Leticia had one last question about the, how the compensation, like, how do they get paid? The BDM, like, do they get paid once a month? Like, how do they actually get the money?
At the end of the transaction?
At the end of the transaction, is it once a month?
Oh, okay. So Nexus payroll is super easy. Generally speaking, and this is not written because it depends on a lot of things with the loan, when it closes, when it gets purchased, how it's processed. But generally speaking, once it's closed, well, are they paying the BDMs separately?
So my understanding, and again, that's a whole other, did I send you Karen's? You've been to Karen's,
Yeah, I just don't remember if she said they get paid every 2 weeks or if it's every cycle like we do for LOs. I don't remember that.
I want to say it's the same as LOs because again, you're getting that comp.
Right, it's when I submit payroll, you're right. So it's
because
literally,
it's on the payroll, yeah.
yep, you can get paid every day. It's just a matter of when it closes, so.
And it just goes into your account,
It
right?
does.
Well, the way that she said it, the way I understood it was basically it shows up in your system, in your payroll, that you have money, i.e. like you have a piggy bank, and then you hit pay me out.
Yep,
And then it goes right into the account,
It
because
does.
mine went right into my account.
it does.
Like you don't get a check, it just goes right.
It's in it, it's how when the loan closed, it's about 4 to 5 days when they're submitted, so you get paid about 7 days after it closes.
Okay, so it's kind of like when we close an escrow as an agent. Well, we get paid sooner than that, but you get right after. Okay, let's go back, and then we need to talk to Chelsea about showing us that next step in Lofty, but go back to having the LO pay the transaction fee. We started talking about that.
So, and I don't know where we left off, but
I don't think we went anywhere.
so from that perspective, whether you're using Nexa, whether you're using any mortgage company, if you have a buyer's fee, you can always ask for a buyer credit, right? Whether Nexa pays for it, whether their current lender pays for it. So it's one of those things that you kind of have to decide if you're going to do it or not going to do it, right? And make it part of, if you're a real estate agent, for example, and let's just say you're not affiliated with Nexa, but you send a client to XYZ lender, you're going to say, hey, there's a transaction fee. Can you pick it up for them, right? There's the buyer's being charged this fee. Can you give them a buyer's credit to offset it? Chris, do you have any angle on that other than that?
Are we talking about buyer broker or are we talking about
No.
Axon admin?
What was the other part?
Well, the Axon
Axon what?
admin fee.
The transaction fee.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Okay, so the short answer is it goes, I believe, it would go under section H on your LE, Wes, and depending on
But it can be negotiated, right? For whether Nexa can pay it, but then also they can negotiate with whoever their other lender is. So it's not like, I guess from Sarah's perspective, there are agents that still use other lenders, right? That aren't plugged in here. If there's a transaction fee and the buyer's responsible for it, that other lender can always give a
lender
buyer's
credit. Yeah, it would be a lender credit. And then, for you and I, for the Nexa world, if we had stuff left, depending on how we structured the file, getting into the minutia a little bit. But yes, it's basically a lender credit. You don't stipulate, lender credit to be applied towards agent's transaction fee. It would just be a blanket lender credit of 500 or 300 or whatever the amount is.
So you can pay it from any angle. It's just a matter of, do you negotiate? And this is a good point, Jim, like from being as a real estate agent, knowing that you're going to bat for your customer, right? Like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do for you. I want to make sure I negotiate for as many fees to be paid as possible. I'm gonna ask them to pay this fee and this fee and this fee. And you can kind of make the work you put into it your separation from the other people, because nobody does that. Nobody ever goes to their friend that's a lender and says, hey, will you do this? They just don't do it, right? But I think that time's changing. I really do.
My favorite analogy with that is when you go to the grocery store, do you negotiate milk? Do you go to the attorney? Do you negotiate with the attorney? When you go to the doctor, hey, doc, guess what? I can only pay you this. Will you do it? I'm sure some doctors nowadays, because they don't want to fight with insurance companies. But again, it's just preserving and protecting your value, as a professional. That's.
Knowing that you can do it, I think is half the battle. And then
Well, if you're giving a lot of business to an LO, and let's face it, there's only so many referrals they can give to you. I think it's the least they can do for us. And if they don't want to do it, I think about using a different LO. Personally,
There you go.
that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
It's a small price they're paying for you because they can't give you money, right? It's a RESPA violation.
Yeah.
But they can relieve you of this transaction fee.
That's right.
So that's how I feel about it.
I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Okay, so Chelsea, we're gonna switch gears here a little bit. Thank you, Kristen. It was so great to see you.
All right. Bye,
Chelsea-
guys. Nice seeing everybody. We'll
Bye.
see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye.
Beth, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Thank you.
You too. You too. Now Chelsea's gonna talk a little bit about Lofty because does everybody in this room have 50 in Lofty? Yeah, see, we've got some in Lofty. Okay.
Thank you.
So we've got it. That's great. Now we're going to go the next step because we're all kind of to that step now. So now we're going to go a little further. And Chelsea is our Lofty guru. So she's going to share some of her knowledge with us about, I don't know, what are we going to talk about today, Chelsea? What you got for us?
Let's talk about smart plans and mass emails.
Okay.
Only because those are like the biggest thing. That's like follow up. That's letting everybody know that we're using a different CRM, all of that kind of fun stuff. So let me bring up my screen and I'll just briefly go through it. There is a difference. So there's mass emails and there is smart plans. Smart plans is more of your follow up. That's like your set it and forget it. That's the things that you can kind of put people on a drip campaign. When they call it campaigns, you can do that same thing with smart plans. Mass emails is more like you could do that for a weekly newsletter. They're not as pretty, but you could. Or you're letting everybody know about any events or open houses, things that you can schedule in advance and send to everybody without having to use like Flowdesk or anything like that. So apparently, let me know if you can see my Lofty screen.
Yep,
Yes.
we see it.
Perfect. Okay, so obviously from your dashboard, you're going to see everything that I see. Let's start with smart plans. I just think that that's the biggest thing everybody has been asking about. And that is going to be under your automation tab and under smart plans. And you're going to see, I had already started one and kind of was like playing around with it. And I did a Valentine's Day one. And I actually pulled it straight from the library. So if you go up here to plans and you go up to library, Axon already has a ton of them pre-programmed and it's for a lot of different things for cold leads, it's for nurtures, it's buyers needing finances, but then they also have like special dates. They have Valentine's Day ones, anything that you could want, they kind of already have. But if you're not finding the thing that you would like, you can also create it. So if you're wanting to make it a little bit different or just you're like, I need to add an extra thing in there, you could do that too. And I'll show you how to do that. So obviously I did a Valentine's Day one. Say you wanted to do a birthday card. Actually, let's do New Year's because I'm trying to keep it simple. You can preview any of these before you use them. So you just go to this little icon here with the, and it'll show you exactly what it looks like in their inbox. So it's going to show you the graphic that they already have done. This is obviously where the name is going to be in and what it says, and then your signature line. And you could see that they have a bunch of different ones. So don't worry about like but if you see something and you're like, this is not what I want, you can create it and you can put in your own graphic. It's very easy. But say you use this template, you would just bring it up. You can name it whatever you would like to. One of the things that is very tricky is making sure that your lead type. So when your leads were put in there, you put them as either as a buyer or a seller, they have renter, they have investor. You want to make sure that if you're picking somebody, if it's maybe just for buyers or just for sellers or for both, you have those all clicked. Because if not, if I just had it for buyer, it would only send my New Year's post to all of my buyers, but not my sellers. So you want to make sure you have both of those clicked or all of them if you'd like, if you have multiple. And then you want to go to your trigger, and your trigger is going to be a specific date. Or sometimes maybe you're doing like an open house smart plan. It's going to be like 2 days after the open house, like 2 days after you put this into effect. It's going to send an email or it's going to tell you to text them or call them or whatever. It's a trigger. So the trigger is what are we doing next? And it has at least 10 different things that you could do. So there's a lot to play around with smart plans because it depends on how you're trying to follow up with the client. Is it something that's automatic? It could be if you get a lead into your website, it automatically, that would be your trigger. It could be a specific date like Valentine's Day or New Year's or anything like that, which is what we have right now, specific date. And then it goes into the action. So now we have our graphic, we have our trigger, and now we're going into the action. So this is what it's going to look like. You can change the email subject. It's going to say on New Year's Day at 9:30 a.m. It's going to be an auto email, but it could be any one of these. Could be a postcard, a letter, email, everything. They have so many things. It would be a lead. If it was going to be a lead, it would be assigned to the agent. And then you can save it. And so now you're like, okay, where did it go? It went into your plans. So now you have it here and you can auto apply it, which means that if it was a buyer, it would auto apply to all of your buyers. It would automatically be sent to that. The one thing I have seen is with it, say you have, 500 buyers, it takes a minute to auto apply it. So the other thing that you could do, which I suggest doing it to make sure that it's actually in place and you're not like moving on to the next thing and it didn't auto apply, is say you go into your CRM and you go people and you say, I'm going to select all my people. So select all of my leads. It will allow me, if you go to more, to add a smart plan. Go smart plan, you go add, and then there's company plan. So this is everything that Accent's given you, office plans. That would be like if we at Downtown Realty had office plans, and then my plans. That would be something that I've already done and put into place. I could hit New Year's and start. And you can see right here, it's processing. So it's going to take maybe 5-10 minutes to process. And then if you wanted to check it, you could go into any person, just click on them. If you go to automations, if you go down here, you can see I already have my Valentine's Day one. The next thing after it's in processing, you'll see your New Year's one. So now you'll know that it's in place and that should be on any of those specific, whether it's a buyer or seller. Does anybody have questions on the smart plans?
So if you did, whenever you have your CRA bit there,
Mm-hmm.
everybody's birthdays,
Yes.
or the majority of them, you don't have to individually, unless you wanted to put their name on it, you could do a generic birthday card.
You
send
could.
it to everybody and it will send it on their specific birthday.
Yes. So that would be right here. So we have our New Year's, and then they have a birthday card one, right? Happy birthday. You can use their template. It would be a birthday card. It would be to any buyers or sellers. And their trigger would be yearly on specific date, and it would be birthday. And that would mean that you would have to have the birthday in there in order for it to be triggered. And then you would just go and hit save just like you did, like I did for the Valentine's Day one. So that's so that's a standard, like that's what they would do. It'd be a recurring plan.
So whenever you do a mass transfer of your CRM,
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm saying is if you individually did it, you could put that stuff as you're inputting that person's name, all their
Yeah.
stuff, hook up that at that point to them individually.
Yes.
Okay.
Or you
and
can
then-
mass do it. So say I
Mass
added
do
a
it,
new
not
person and
separate.
I just found out their birthday. But I already have it in place for everybody else. If I went to any one of my clients and I went into automations, I could technically go and add a smart plan. So I would go here and you can add smart plans. And if you go to my plans and you go birthday card and you would hit start, this one obviously I can't because I don't have her birthday in there, but it would be able to. So you can literally mass email, like mass get it started for right now, or you can go one by one if you need to as you're adding clients. But it also should allow you to auto apply. And I don't think I have that because I haven't like added anybody. So if you went into automation and went into smart plans and these are all of the plans that you have, you should be able to auto apply it where anytime somebody's birthday comes in, it should automatically update it.
So when you guys are going through Facebook, you know how Facebook tells you, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday?
Mhm.
Well, you should, if those are your clients, you should be
Should,
adding
yeah.
that to the birthday right then. Obviously, you've missed it for that year. But there's a way on Facebook you can go in and see all the birthdays that are coming up, you know, and you can add all of those for
Yeah.
people you know. It's an easy way to get birthdays if you don't want to ask them.
Also, you can put, hey, we've been friends on Facebook for 11 years, just seeing how you're doing.
Yeah, of course.
So that's smart plans. And smart plans are good for literally anything. Like I said, you could do it for open house follow-up. You can do it for, house anniversaries, all that fun stuff. Depending on what you're looking for, they probably have a trigger for it. So you can
Chelsea, what's the
customize.
difference between a smart plan and a mass email?
Okay.
Like,
So your mass emails, obviously you saw the smart plans, they're really pretty. These are going to be your emails. So if you go into marketing and you go into emails, you can go into first, you can see your performance of what emails you sent out because you're allowed to mass email. You go into templates and shared with me. These are the accent emails. So you can preview them. This is what it looks like. They're very basic emails. So they're things that are like emails that you could, technically send in Gmail, but they are things that you can schedule send. They are things that you can go and create your own template. You can make it, you can design it as you would like to make it as user friendly as you would like. So you can put images, you could put social medias, dividers, spacers. This is exactly like what you would do if you had Flowdesk, where you can just drag and drop where it's supposed to be in the button, you could put what it's supposed to go to in terms of like a URL. So if it's taking you someplace, this would be great for honestly, like I think weekly newsletters, because anything that's done in Lofty, obviously it's going to lead back to you in terms of leads.
so the monthly newsletter that we get, that we could send that out through
Yeah,
the
you definitely
email.
could. And so this is where your templates would be. These would be, that would be same thing like campaigns. And if you wanted to, so say I have a template, say I wanted to just reintroduce myself to everybody and just be like, here I am, I'm touching bases. I can do the same thing where I hit this little button, I select all leads. I want to mass email and it'll pop up and be like, which email? Obviously, it has everybody already in there. You can go template and then it'll pull up that same spot that I just had where it's like, maybe I want to send them a happy new year. Maybe I forgot to put a smart plan in place and I'm wanting to just be like, oh, I need to send this happy, new year email out really quick. I can select it. It would look like this, and I can either send it right now or I can schedule send it, which is this little clock right here. It'll allow me to put in when I would like to send it.
Okay.
And so that's more of a mass email. They're just very generic. So one of the things At the training last week, when everybody came, I was telling them is to go into those emails and anything that you already kind of have scheduled or templated, put them in here and kind of make it look nicer. You don't need to put the signature, your email signature, because that's already going to be in Lofty if you've set it up. But put the body of it in here, and then that way you have that templated already.
And Jessica says, are you able to upload your own? Yes.
Yes.
You can create
Mhm.
your own.
You can definitely create your own in terms of basically anything, emails, text messages, smart plans, all of that.
Okay. All right, so I think that's good. That's a good
Okay.
start. What else, when we go on to the next thing with Chelsea, like what would you guys like to see? Like, what do you want some training on? What do you think Chelsea would be?
Homebot.
Homebot. How about the homebot?
Okay.
Next week, or we'll
Yeah.
just gonna, because we bombard. I think it's better to give us a couple of skills, let the agents get it down, and then go on to the next skill.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So the home
We need
reports.
HomeBot. We need, I think the other thing we need to talk about is, like touch plans. Like, do they have those where there's touch plans?
So
Like,
those would technically kind of be your smart plans, um, as well, because what it does in some of these smart plans, so say I went here to
yeah,
preview it, it auto emails, but it also is going to give you the task to call and leave a voicemail. It's also going to tell you to
that's good.
text. So this
That's
is
good.
what they did is they combined basically your drip campaigns and everything with all of your smart plans and your touch points. They're all the same thing now. And it will allow you and remind you. So that's the big thing is honestly kind of getting all of their people set up on smart plans in the way that they need to be, right? So it says, wait one day and then it's going to auto email. And then 2 days later, it's going to send another email. They have a ridiculous amount of smart plans for basically everything. And so I would definitely
Okay.
just go and look at their templates and preview them, see what they look like, and then play around with them and kind of see if that would work for you if you just changed it around. Or if you have something specific, like I know that they used to have like the KW campaigns and stuff, you can definitely pull those in and use those. The same ones. They have the same kind of triggers.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea.
You're
Thank
so
you
welcome.
so much. Does anybody else have any questions?
I'm still at where I put in my,
Your
client-
needs, yeah.
Yeah, my needs, but it says task. So I don't know, I'm still at that point where it says 0 tasks.
Because you haven't assigned any tasks.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
fine. You haven't assigned anything. A
No.
task would be like,
Yeah.
follow-up call 2 weeks
Follow-up
from
calls
now.
or text messages.
But we don't constantly have to be doing that, I mean,
Doing what?
the task. Because it, like I said, every day it says you're at 0 tasks.
Yeah, it's because you haven't assigned yourself anything. Lofty doesn't care. They're just reminding you.
Yeah.
So like how Chelsea just showed you that you could set up a campaign and it'll assign you a call. If you triggered one of those on your task, it'll tell you today you gotta call so and so.
For a touch plan, right? Because you know how we
Yeah.
Get a buyer that said 6 months down the road and 4 months down, you got the task, hey, called so and so, then.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna have a task every single day.
Yeah, you won't.
Should.
Yeah, you should have a task with different people.
Your CRM will,
But
it
not-
should get to the point where you have tasks every single day.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
put them on those like those campaigns, but I know they're not calling it a campaign. But if you put it on that campaign, it's gonna tell you,
Yeah.
Send a note, send an email, call them, because those are the ones everybody doesn't want to do, right? The care calls.
So every single CRM you put in there, you have to assign a task to if you choose.
If you choose to.
Call, text, or.
Sure. So if you want to remind yourself, right? I'm just using it as a reminder. It's a calendar. It's just a
That's
calendar.
what it is.
Of
So
what?
I think her idea of that in mind was saying, it's like, we're being bombarded with all these zeros and all these emails, and you're like, oh my god, I'm doing something wrong.
No,
I'm gonna
no.
get fired.
No, there's gonna be all different levels of what people do with Lofty, right? There's gonna be people that just put their leads in. Well, there's gonna be people that do nothing. Let's be honest. They do nothing. They don't even put their leads in. But, right, we're gonna have those. And then we're gonna have the people that actually put leads in, and that's as far as they go with it. Maybe just use it for a reference. And then there's gonna be people that are in between, like me. You know, like I do set up tasks, or I will try and do some care calls and get them scheduled. And so you're gonna see everything in between. There's no right or wrong. It's just using it the way you wanna use it.
And a
That's
little
all.
side touch point. Yesterday, Juan and Luis were trying to help Juan get his contacts in. He was having difficulty doing mass import. So they went to their sub office, sat down, and Juanito manually put in 50 leads, and it took him less than 2 hours to do it all. So it is just even just setting aside a time to do it one by one is doable.
Right. And just make sure, I know you've done the 50 leads, but keep adding,
Keep going.
you know, as you get people, put them in, put them in, put them in.
Yeah.
And then assign them a campaign. Anything's better than nothing.
Yes.
So. Can I make a suggestion maybe?
Mhm.
So on maybe Tuesdays after the MLS, we have like a non-formal, you know, not something like this. It's a non-formal, anybody who wants to show up
Sure.
after the tour, come down here and we could kind of
Mess with Lofty.
bounce off each other's heads.
Yeah.
And just come when you want.
Yep.
Right now.
Are you down? Cause we're at the MLS, so we can come down here afterwards.
Lofty Power Hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe like a Lofty power hour, or all, you know, what we were doing with Accent and Lofty. Yeah.
Maybe we can put it on the calendar, so it's just a reminder to.
Yep. Absolutely.
That Pumbaa thing exists.
It doesn't?
I haven't seen it on off in a long time.
I wonder what it's called.
Unless they change the name of it, because at first I was looking at it, you had to pay for it, you only got like 5 free ones, and that's the gateway.
Yeah.
That I don't want to cost.
Yeah.
That's.
All right, guys. Well, we went over, but that was a good meeting. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Chelsea. Keep going, guys. And don't forget, you got to get 50 leads. I mean, we're coming to the end of the month, so you've got to have your 50 leads and contacts in Lofty. You've got to listen to my silly video, and then you've got to score your points. But you've got to send me the score sheet, right? So I can calculate it. And I can check it, guys. There's gonna be ways I can check it, so.
And that email is going out tomorrow.
See you later.
The video she's referring to?
No, the link,
Oh.
the link,
The
the
video's
reminder.
leaving out.
Yeah, so we'll send out the link for how to fill out the form along with the video in that email and text message, so you have a reminder to do it.
So once you watch the video, that's it. You don't have to watch it all the time unless I come up with a new one.
It's only for those that have failed to watch the video, because mind you, so many have not watched the video.
So,
So you're saying sending out the score sheet tomorrow is what you're saying?
Friday,
Friday,
and it's due back by the 3rd, right?
by the 3rd. And then we'll get everybody in tier 1, tier 2. Okay,
I'm wasting the video.
No,
I got a score sheet though, so I don't.
it'll be, well,
Okay.
it'll be coming out.
The email that sent you that said important, say this email,
Oh, it's on there. I got it.
it's on there too.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Jack Niels, I got that.
I did that for everybody, so I could reference to it and tell people it's there. Bye everyone.
Mom, working.